Tier 1, Outer Space, Abandoned Island. This island is located just off of the main city. You get here by hopping onto this boat and it'll carry you most of the way there, but right before landing on the island, it'll shoot you into the air with the text "It's a trap" appearing on screen, being a reference to Star Wars. And on this island are some more references, like you'll be able to get this collectible trophy, and Goatson? This is Goatson, a small ball with a face. And this entire island and ball is a reference to the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, where the main character gets stranded on an island and makes a volleyball friend named Wilson. Coffee Stain House. The company behind Goat Simulator, Coffee Stain, actually put their own studio into the game. It's not a very complex building or anything, but if you want, you can destroy their entire office, and you'll see another one of these later entries takes place in this office. Fighting Ring. While wandering through the woods right outside of town, you can find a bloody looking circle with people chanting around it, and a goat in the middle. If you hit this goat outside of the circle, you'll start a fight where you can fight through different goats until the ripped goats appeared. Once defeated, you'll unlock this ripped goat to play as. Goat Tower. At the very start of Goat Simulator, you'll see this goat tower, and most people don't think much of it, but if you make your way to the top of it and go inside, you'll enter this massive hall, with goats bowing to you, and if you stand on the throne, you'll unlock the Queen Goat, as fire and screaming plays on the screen. This Queen Goat will let you spawn goat peasants from the sky, and this tower is actually based off of a real goat tower in Illinois. Pentagram. If you head up this hill here, you'll find a massive pentagram on the ground. And you know, if the massive pentagram wasn't creepy and ominous enough, if you sacrifice 5 different people to this thing, this will happen. And you'll unlock the Devil Goat, Protester Stage. Near where you unlock the Devil Goat, you'll find a group of protesters at a stand protesting shaped food. If you have explicit content turned off in the settings, it'll swap to no pointy food. But yeah, I just wouldn't expect that kind of message to be in this game. Size changing hole. Left of one of these drifting cars, you can find this hole with a fan at the bottom of it. And every time you go in and come back out, you'll change sizes, sometimes getting to be abnormally big. Do Not Lick Crystal and A Story About My Uncle. In 2014, Coffee Stain helped make a game called A Story About My Uncle, a puzzle platformer game where you swing from these different rune symbols with your glove, and get to experience a story of how the old man, telling the story to his daughter, followed his uncle to another world, and used his suit with this glove to traverse it. Also in that game, there's a Breaking Bad Easter egg. Just had to mention it. But throughout this game, you'll see blue crystals, and these actually appear in Goat Simulator, with writing next to them saying "Do not lick," and well, when you inevitably lick it, you'll turn into the Uncle Goat, and get the ability to swing around, just like in the game. On mobile, this variant is actually called Spider Goat. Goat MMO Simulator. Goat Simulator MMO. I don't know how you say this name, but this is the first DLC for Goat Simulator. In this DLC, you'll get to play a MMO. Not a real MMO, all the chat is AI and NPCs, obviously. But the starting classes are a bit different from what you'd expect. You have the normal tank, rogue, magician, hunter, and microwave. And yeah, this MMO feels pretty normal. All the chat is AI, but it's oddly well made. You get to do different quests that are parodies on MMO quests, like go kill 10 apples and you'll get an apple. So, you know, the same Goat Simulator humor is in this, but it has an oddly expansive map. It is genuinely really well made. This DLC was, no joke, my first time hearing about what an MMO was. Goat Simulator 3. Goat Simulator 3 is the sequel to Goat Simulator. Yeah, they skipped 2, don't worry about it. And this game was unironically my game of the year. There were a lot of different pop culture references in Goat Simulator 1, but nothing at all like they did with 3. The trailer for Goat Simulator 3 is shot for shot the same as Dead Island 2's trailer, and the start of Goat Simulator 3 is just the Skyrim opening, but with goats, along with a ton of new features like cars, more customization, an interconnected map, more minigames, quests, bigger multiplayer support, ton. Okay, you get it. Yeah, this game is just so massive and expands a lot on Goat Simulator 1. There's no DLCs for it as of now, but as of writing, in, well, 2 days from now, June 19th, which, you know, this will already be released by, they'll have their first DLC, The Multiverse of Nonsense. Goat Z. Goat Z is the second DLC for Goat Simulator, where you get to play a zombie survival version of the funny little goat game, where I quote on the Steam page here, "This is a completely realistic survival mode where you have to eat every damn 5 minutes to survive because Dean Hall and Gary Newman said so." If you don't know, Dean Hall is the creator of DayZ and Gary Newman, Rust. In this DLC, you'll get to use a lot of different weird weapons against zombies, turn people into zombies if you want, craft things. Again, just like the MMO, it's crazy in depth. But this time, you also have zombies. Also, a part of the advertising was that it was the first survival game not in early access. And well, if you were using Steam around 2014, 2015, you know, yeah, every single survival game, all early access. Goat Simulator Payday. Goat Simulator Payday is the third DLC for Goat Simulator. Don't worry, we only have one more DLC after this, where you get to rob banks as a flamingo, goat, dolphin, or camel. And you get to do the normal Goat Simulator nonsense with a lot of different Easter eggs and stuff. We'll get into that later. Goat Simulator Waste of Space. Goat Simulator Waste of Space is the last DLC for Goat Simulator. This DLC has the most references to pop culture out of any of the DLC. Tons of references to Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, heck even the 2016 election, hashtag Make Space Great Again. This DLC is everything good about Goat Simulator, and again, like all the others filled with content, this has gotta be my favorite one just with the amount of content in it. Millions of bugs. This entry is about the tons of bugs and weird things that could happen with the physics of Goat Simulator. Instead of getting rid of all the bugs like most game companies, instead, they decided to leave all of the non-crashing ones in. And, well, in my experience of Goat Simulator, the goofy physics and bugs really add to the enjoyment of the game. Flappy Goat. Inside of the in-game Coffee Stain Studios, if you go up to this monitor, you'll see Flappy Goat. And you can actually play this by repeatedly pressing Y. You get an achievement for going through 10 checkpoints in the game, but if you've ever played Flappy Bird, you'll know it's pretty hard to do. Mushrooms. On the same island with a volleyball friend, you can find these mushrooms. Once licked, different parts of your head will grow larger and larger. You'll have to do this for a quest, but aside from that, you can only find them on this island. Tier 2, the Crane. Cat Sausage. In the Payday DLC, if you put 2 cats into this machine, you'll be able to make the world record cat sausage, with apparently 80 different cats combined into it. You can't do much with it, but yeah, it's 80 cats, turned into a sausage. Server Room. In the Goat Simulator MMO DLC, you can come across this server room, and if it wasn't already weird enough having a fourth wall break like this and having a server room in this fantasy world, if you hit the different servers, different graphical changes will appear on your screen, like these. Binary Man. The Binary Man is an Easter egg character found in the Goat Z DLC. He's made out of ones and zeros like, well, every character, but these ones are a bit more prevalent. You can find him in his cave next to a campfire, and his shelter with a sign saying Home Sweet Home. Elf Street Boys. In the MMO DLC, you'll be able to come across some elf characters, and well, they've formed a band. From what I could make out from the sounds that they were singing, they're singing Kiss from a Rose by Seal. But if you buy to sing along with them, you'll get an achievement Elf Street Boys. Giant Pet Ant. Like the last one, in the MMO DLC, you can be trapped by this king and be forced to fight against his pet ant, which ends up being a giant spider. I Am Bread. If you were on the gaming side of YouTube at all in 2014 and 2015, you'll probably have heard of the game I Am Bread, where you get to play as a piece of bread trying not to touch the floor, and having extremely hard controls to make that even harder. But this was such a big sensation that you could actually become the bread in Goat Simulator. If you headbutt this toaster, it'll spit out pieces of bread flopping around the world. If you get them back into the toaster and activate the toaster, you'll turn into the bread and get the achievement I Am Bread. This crossover also happened in the I Am Bread game where you can play as a goat. Mick Goat. So this is a fan drawing of a goat for Goat Simulator, and those fries on the side are McDonald's fries. So, what did the devs of Goat Simulator do? They added this as an official mutator to the mobile version of the game called McGoat. The person who drew this was probably so young, and I can't imagine the sense of joy they must have gotten and bragging rights they got to have with their own goat design making it into the game. Beacon. At the start of Goat Simulator, if you go into this house's garage, you'll be able to see a device named Beacon. And if you bring this device to the center of the crop circles just nearby, you'll be able to summon alien spaceships from space, and they'll abduct you and, well, leave you out stranded in space. Deer Simulator. Deer Simulator is the spiritual successor to Goat Simulator. There were many animal simulator games after Goat Simulator, but none as hectic and good as this one. In Deer Simulator, you'll play as a man resurrected as a deer, and just about everything with this game is extremely crazy, like the movement and weapons and design. It all feels like Goat Simulator, but it's a genuinely really well made game as well. Goat Simulator MMO Winter or whatever. Goat Simulator MMO WoW Winter or whatever is an exclusive event to the mobile version's MMO side of Goat Simulator. Aside from the obvious reference to World of Warcraft in the title, places on the map and different characters are as well. Like Los Santos and The Wall are standout references to GTA and Game of Thrones. You can unlock some new goats as well, like the Elf Goat, Epic Goat, and Scandinavian Goat. Old gen console version. Goat Simulator released a little before the Xbox One and PS4 generation came out, so there's a PS3 and Xbox 360 version of the game, and they have a couple differences from their next-gen and PC counterparts. Like the Payday DLC for Goat Simulator, you can't unlock the new characters like the Flamingo. I don't know why, but you just can't. And there's also no explicit content in the game. That filter is automatically turned on and you can't turn it off. Payday 2 The Goat Simulator Heist. Just like how Goat Simulator had their Payday crossover, Payday also had a Goat Simulator one in theirs. In Payday 2's 9th paid expansion, you'll get to go through a city and rescue 15 different goats as a replacement for loot. They can be thrown further than any other loot and can also damage you. Some people really didn't like this heist, but I mean, it's Goat Simulator. I don't think it's meant to be the most serious. A Goat Fortnite. When Goat Simulator 3 came out, it was exclusively on Epic Games Launcher for quite a while. And to add more incentive to buy the game because, well, we all know it's hard to not just wait to get it on Steam, if you got the game on Epic Games, you'd get this goat skin in Fortnite. Yeah, it's a bit cursed to say the least, but at least you can show off you're a Goat Simulator fan? Yeah, this one's weird. Giant background mermaids. In Goat Simulator MMO, if you launch yourself into the sky by hitting this TNT, you'll be able to see these mermaids in the distance. Except when you get closer, they look a bit different than you'd expect. Minecraft blocks. When Goat Simulator came out, Minecraft was at its all-time high of popularity. So with all the references to other games in Goat Simulator, what about a Minecraft one? Well, if you go into this graveyard here, you'll be able to find a cobblestone block from Minecraft, and once you walk into it, you'll get the Builder Goat that also looks like it's from Minecraft. And you can place blocks with it. You'll also be able to unlock a grass and a wood block as well. These 3 blocks being the only 3 blocks Minecraft originally had in its early stages when it was called a cave game. Morse code chat in MMO. In the MMO DLC for Goat Sim, in the chat you'll be able to see NPCs talking about different things, and sometimes you'll see those things in Morse code. And if you translate it, you'll get some silly messages like he doesn't even understand lol, just referring to the Morse code they're typing in. Not So Secret Cow Farm. If you're a Diablo fan, you'll probably remember the infamous cow level. And if you're not a Diablo fan, basically, in the first Diablo game, there were rumors of a secret cow level going around, and everyone was trying to find this, but to no avail. It got to be so popular that in Diablo 2 and the future Diablo games, there would always be a hidden cow level, even Diablo 4. Though that one was very, very hard to find. But it's such an iconic gaming legend that it got put into Goat Simulator. In the MMO part of the game, that is. If you knock over this table in the church and go down to the hole beneath, you'll come across this not-so-secret cow farm. Tier 3, Goat Castle. Helvete. Helvete in Swedish means hell, and in Goat Simulator there's a sign for going to Helvete, and when you go through, it'll just take you to Goat City Bay. I am baguette. Just like in the starting town, how you can turn into a piece of normal bread, in the main city of the game, you can do the same, but it'll turn you into a baguette instead. I am toaster. So, very similar to the last one here, but while you go to turn yourself into bread in the starting town, if you don't put the bread in the toaster, and instead bring it over to the pentagram on the hill where you'll normally unlock the devil goat, if you leave the bread in the pentagram by itself, you'll turn into a toast goat, with a toaster built into your back. Navi. In the Goat Simulator MMO, there's a lot of references to a lot of different fantasy games, one of which being Zelda. Aside from, well, being able to get the Master Sword, you can also get a Goat Simulator version of Navi by interacting with this genie's lamp. Navi tries their absolute best to be as annoying as possible.
Where am I going?
Look over there.
Where? Shut up. Where am I going?
There's a fish.
Yeah.
There's a fish over there.
Okay, there's a...
Mate.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Payday wanted posters. In the main city of Goat Simulator, you'll see some posters around for wanted criminals. These animals are actually the playable characters in the Payday DLC. Not too complex, just a nice nod to the DLC. Reused Sanctum textures. Sanctum 1 and 2 are games made by Coffee Stain, the developers of Goat Simulator, and people have been wanting a Sanctum 3 forever, so, as a joke, in Goat Simulator, you can find some reused assets from the Sanctum games. And once you bring all 3 of them into the pentagram, you'll unlock the Robot Goat, and get the achievement titled Trying to Bring Forth Sanctum 3? Cat Cult. In the Payday DLC for Goat Simulator, if you bring some cats to the Kittyland Love Center, they'll form a triangle with lasers and summon a massive pyramid from the ground to come up. And once inside, you'll see the Goat Simulator version of Bastet, the Egyptian cat god. Goat Simulator Valentine's cards. Every Valentine's, Coffee Stain will release different Valentine's cards like this. Just some nice Valentine's cards for Goat Simulator. Tier 4, The Barn. Finding the inventory in MMO Simulator. In the MMO DLC for Goat Sim, if you lick something, you'll be able to store it in your inventory. And you can lick basically anything for this. From tables to human, anything can go into your inventory. But this inventory can hold a lot, so as Goat Simulator fans are, they wanted to know everything about this game, and eventually found a way to actually find where your inventory is stored. If you glitch out of the map here, you'll be able to find everything you've licked and stored teleported here, and brought back to the normal map once you decide you want them to. Just a funny find that the developers probably weren't intending. Loch Ness Monster. In the Goat Z DLC, you can actually see the Loch Ness Monster. If you go to this lake and hit this massive red button, the monster will appear, and the camera will take a picture. Unfortunately, the camera never gets a good picture, and, well, if you look on the screen to your right, you'll see the iconic Nessie picture. Slender Goat is playable on PC. On the PC version of Goat Simulator, there's a sort of glitch where you can play as a Slender Goat, this creepy goat monster found in the cemetery. If you have the Space Goat Mutator equipped on the Goatville map, and go to the fighting ring where you normally fight the Ripped Goat, there's about a 50% chance you'll turn into the Slender Goat. Jackpot. In this house in Goatville, there's a clay pot near this bed with the word Jack on it. If you lick it, you'll get a massive score boost with the text Jackpot appearing on the screen. Just a really bad pun. Lover Fair 2019. So, mobile versions of Goat Simulator get a lot of events. Like on Valentine's Day of 2019, they had the Lover Fair event. Like most events, it was really big, with a lot of different new locations like the Christmas one. But the main difference with this event is that it was for the Waste of Space DLC. Nothing was too insane about this event, but I'll have to say my favorite feature is that you can marry Elvis in it. So yeah, that makes this one the best event by far. Goat of Duty. Goat of Duty is a sort of Goat Simulator x Call of Duty shooter. From what I could tell, the game is pretty much dead, but it was a perfect meme shooter. The gameplay was actually really good. It felt a lot like Unreal Tournament, very arcadey style of shooter. Like I said though, there's no players, so unfortunately I doubt this game will ever reach enough popularity to find another match. Tier 5 Sewers. Male goats do not exist. It's been confirmed by the developers of Goat Simulator that Pilgor, the main goat of the game, is a female goat. But that means every mutator is also female. even at the top of the starting tower, you get the goat queen, not king. So, are there any male variations of the main goat? Yes, but only two. The first of which is the feather goat. Since it's an ostrich, ostriches have very different colorings. Only male ostriches can be black like this. And the second one is the tall goat because, well, it's visibly male. Naked Russians. So in Goat Z, you can actually come across naked Russians. Obviously censored, but they'll just run at you and yell, "I report you." The cows in MMO and Waste of Space are the same. The cows that you can find in the cow level of Goat MMO and the cows in the Waste of Space DLC are actually the same assets. So with how crazy some Goat Simulator stuff is, a lot of people think they're somehow the same cows. Majora's Mask Moon. In the Green Screen Studios building in the Goat Z DLC, you'll be able to find a prop moon, but this moon is already creepy enough. What's creepier is that you may be able to recognize this moon. If you do, you've probably seen it in Majora's Mask, where in the game you'll come across this absolutely massive moon with a very creepy face staring right down at you. Tier 6, Old Goat's House. Using every mutator at once. So it's not normally recommended to use a whole lot of mutators at once, but if you do, you'll get some pretty goofy and some oddly good combinations like these. Yes, that one's a goat. I don't know how, don't question it. And with some of these combinations, you'll be able to do some weird things like spitting acid while flying and being a T-Rex if you want. These combinations of mutators are just insane. Standing goat on Goat Simulator Wiki. You've probably seen this really cursed goat image before, but for some reason on the Goat Simulator Wiki, this image is there, just listed as the standing goat. And yeah, that's the end of the iceberg. I know this one was way shorter than the last, and a lot of the entries ended up being cut, but a lot of them I tried my best and I couldn't find a single speck of information about. But again, I hope you still enjoyed. Finding a lot of these entries were really fun, but near impossible. So again, I apologize for it looking so long and being so short. Either way, they were very interesting, and I hope you guys felt that way as well and enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for helping me hit 800 subscribers. It really means the world to me, and I can't describe how much the positive feedback really just makes my whole day infinitely better. You guys really mean the world to me. And, well, I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Also, I made this little stim image of all the franchises I like. It took a lot of time and I just wanted to show you if you were interested. So yeah, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.